What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, yesterday, speculation exploded online around Nintendo after a popular leaker decided to post up an image of an original Nintendo cartridge, and wow, people have quite a few theories running right now, and we'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about what else but more layoffs in the gaming industry after Take-Two decided to shut down 2 different studios, and then we'll also be talking about Xbox and the whole third-party situation as more messages got out there that now even have people talking about Halo potentially on the PlayStation 5. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early and ad-free. If you'd like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're gonna start today with limited run games and the 3DO, which there was a recent release for that system where you would get a physical copy of this game, which, I mean, sounds really cool, right? Especially now, 3DO is very old, so to be able to get a new copy, sealed copy of a game that you can play on the actual hardware, a disc, that's pretty cool, even though the price tag is kind of high. Well, along with that, you expect high quality, right? Well, we can see this is posted up over on Twitter, where a person noticed, that's Todd Gill, saying Limited Run Games is shipping out 3DO games on CDR, like a burnt disc, rather than press discs, and the best part, they won't even work on real hardware. Well, okay, the reason for that, some 3DO systems are more compatible, we'll say, with burnt discs, whereas others don't recognize them at all, or just in general, they're older, so the lasers are not going to be able to read, say, a CDR as well as just an original pressed disc that you would have bought for the system originally. Now, as people started to hear this, they were even doing unboxings of these different games that had shipped out, like D, for example, and as they went through and opened it up, they realized, oh yeah, this is a burnt disc that I have right now. And since then, Time Extension did get a comment from Limited Run Games, and I'll leave that link down below in the sources, but essentially they apologize for the situation here, going on to say, please be reassured that D, the Collector's Edition, is the only game affected by this issue. Further 3DO titles will not go into production until this issue has been fully resolved, and we are confident in full compatibility. Apologies again to our 3DO gamers. We will strive to do better. They also mentioned that they will work to replace any of these discs that were burned and sent out, so I guess you'll have to contact Limited Run Games if you have one of these copies of D. But really the issue here obviously is when you buy from Limited Run Games, you expect a high quality product. You expect a product that will mirror the original even, not a burnt CD that gets sent out, and when you flip it over, it's pretty obvious that it looks like they just kind of burnt it on their computer and then packaged it right away. And the fact that people also like to leave these limited run games sealed, well, they may not have found out for years down the line when maybe they wanted to open up and actually play it on their 3DO, and oh wait, it doesn't work. So yeah, not a good look here for limited run games. Also, it looks like we have that THQ Nordic annual showcase now to look forward to. This is posted up over on their Twitter account, where they say the same procedure as last year. Our annual THQ Nordic digital showcase returns on August 2nd, 2024. Join us for new announcements, exciting updates on Gothic 1 Remake, Titan Quest 2, and much more. It's hard to really say what else outside of, we'll say, as they mentioned here, Titan Quest 2 and Gothic 1 Remake that would be here, because THQ Nordic in general, I mean, they have a lot of intellectual properties they can tap, but also everything that's been going on with Embracer Group has just seemed so up and down, so in flux right now that I have no idea what projects would even still be in development, even if some had, say, leaked out ahead of time a year or two ago. We don't know. They could have been canceled. So your guess is as good as mine for this one, but I guess we'll find out in August when their showcase airs. Oh, and months ago, we had found out that Super Nintendo World opening in Orlando was actually going to be pushed into 2025, and they have reconfirmed that. Here you can see, this is posted up by Universal Orlando Resort, saying ride alongside Mario careening through Donkey Kong Country, punch blocks, collect digital coins, discover the interactive fun of Super Nintendo World, opening 2025 at Universal Epic Universe. This is probably going to be the place I would go to experience Super Nintendo World, rather than going to the West Coast or going to Japan. This one would be, I guess, technically the closest one to me, and it looks like they're doing a lot, right? Even just around Super Nintendo World with all the other parks and attractions they've built here. So maybe in the next couple of years, I'll go check it out. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't mind going to see it in 2025 next year, but might end up being a little later, maybe in like 2026, we'll see. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with a tweet that was heard around the world, and that comes from Pyoro, who, to their credit, they pretty much get everything right, whether they allude to it through what ends up being very cryptic tweets or just sometimes outright say it online. Well, in this case, we can see they posted up an image of Nintendo World Championships 1990. It was a cartridge that was very, very specialized for the original Nintendo, and hey, it has switches on it. Interesting. It actually has 4 switches. In fact, it has SW1, SW2, SW3, SW4, and then a bunch of numbers next. It really is numbers all over this label, which naturally has led people to all kinds of speculation trying to figure out what exactly is Pyoro saying here. Maybe they really liked the Nintendo World Championships cartridge and they just wanted everyone else to see it yesterday. But I mean, if you look at the impressions on this tweet, it's over 800,000 views and a lot of videos popped up, a lot of discussion over on X or Twitter, and so much so that Switch 2 started trending. I think at one point Nintendo World Championships was trending, people of course just referring to this. And there are a number of theories running right now. Some have actually taken all the different numbers from this label, tried to find some sort of pattern that then points them to either a reveal date or a release date for the Switch 2. I've seen some people mention, oh wait, maybe the Nintendo World Championships, they're coming back for the summer. That Nintendo could announce that at any time coming up just here on Twitter, and there you go, that's what Pyoro is referring to. Could also be a Nintendo Switch Online drop, so hey, maybe Nintendo World Championships, like that cartridge, that compilation, Nintendo is going to put it on NSO. It could even be outside of the NES app, as we have seen things like Tetris 99, for example. It'd actually be pretty fun if Nintendo added Nintendo World Championships as like an NSO drop, and you can compete against other people all around the world with those same rules that they were playing with here for the cartridge back in 1990. And of course, probably the leading one right now is that next generation for Nintendo, so their Switch 2, will have multiple SKUs because there are, well, multiple Switches on this cartridge. Some have also pointed out, well, S1 could be the regular Switch, then you could have the Switch Lite, then the Switch OLED. S4, well, that's just the new Switch. Okay, I mean, really, you can look at this and say, how deep did Pyoro were they going to go with really an image that they pulled from Google Images? I mean, it's like the first one. So I don't think any of the numbers necessarily mean anything here. I think you can really get down to the basics and say, okay, either it's multiple Switches or Nintendo is really going to do something with the World Championships, and it could be something as basic as, hey, we are bringing that back for 2024, and you will hear about that announcement here in the coming weeks for a big summer-long tour that they're going to do. And I know the anticipation around Nintendo finally talking about this next-generation device has been building and building and building for years now. So yes, when you see something like this that could be referencing it being somewhat imminent, maybe at their investors briefing next week, people of course get very excited and really try to look into this thing. But I'd be kind of cautious about this because honestly, Pyoro could also be half trolling here and just sort of having some fun. So we'll see. Generally, when Pyoro says something, it doesn't take too long for whatever it is they're referencing to be revealed. So maybe we are a week or two off from that happening. But I guess we'll keep an eye out for either multiple Switches or maybe an NSO drop, or who knows, maybe a tournament to look forward to this summer. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo being hard at work with DMCA takedowns, as we know what happened between Nintendo and Yuzu, where Nintendo rolled in, pretty much crushed them in like a week or so, and that was it. Yuzu was just gone. They had turned the domain over to Nintendo, and even Citra got pulled down, and some other emulators have just kind of folded just out of concerns around Nintendo showing up on their doorstep. But we can see this was posted up over on Twitter from Mr. Sujano, who noticed Nintendo issued over 8,500 DMCAs to GitHub forks and clones of Yuzu, and we know Suyu was one that got hit hard recently, and Nintendo, after what happened with Yuzu, I feel like they know that they can just start throwing DMCAs around wherever they want, forks of Yuzu, and that's it. It'll be complied with, and it'll just kind of go away. Now the screen grab here that Mr. Jana posted up does mention GitHub processed takedown notice against the entire network of 8,534 repositories, inclusive of the parent repository. So I mean, that is kind of an automatic thing. Like, Nintendo can just send it out and it'll just, just automatically get sent all across GitHub here. But still, it's a large number of DMCA requests and takedowns, and Nintendo isn't messing around with Yuzu. So at this point, whenever I see a fork of Yuzu get announced, I just assume it's going to be gone in less than a week, as Nintendo is very active around this. And clearly, while they know they can pretty much do it after what happened with the settlement and stuff outside of court, I feel like they know that there is something in that code that was not going to fly either way, and that's one of the reasons we got that settlement so quickly. So to me, it's no wonder you're seeing all these different forks being pulled down with Yuzu fast with these DMCA. So yeah, I would think twice about forking Yuzu at all going forward. At least some of the other ones, like Ryojinx for like the Switch emulation, seems fine for now. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft going third party. At least that's been the conversation for a little while now, ever since they made that push and announcement that they were going to have 4 different first-party games go over to other platforms, with the PlayStation 5 being really the leading system at this time when it comes to Xbox games outside of Xbox and PC. It's just been a constant conversation as to when other games are coming over. Well, based on some recent Discord messages that then got out online, people figure this is it. Microsoft is completely third party, and now we're just kind of hanging out waiting, maybe even at their showcase in June, for them to start announcing things like Forza and Gears, maybe even Halo going to the PlayStation 5. Well, we can see this is posted up over on Reset Era, and this is people kind of discussing Jez Corden, who was apparently very active on Discord, just kind of talking back and forth with people about this situation, saying, apparently, the summary here, all Xbox first-party games coming to PlayStation, even Forza and Halo. Xbox will be more Steam-like in the future. Affordable prices, sales, more open for devs. Future Xbox hardware going to be for fans who want it. So yes, there will still be hardware of some kind. And I mentioned it'll be sort of niche like the Steam Deck. The next Xbox will sideload Steam, and I don't think they expect to ever grow in hardware, which, I mean, based on their recent trend with what they're saying to investors, that part might actually be kind of true, as they sort of expect hardware to continue to decline going forward. But nonetheless, I did reach out to Jez Corden, who's over at Windows Central, and asked about this, and it's basically well-informed speculation, sort of their idea as to the direction Microsoft will go. This in no way is any kind of actual report that's being put out there. It's just kind of an opinion of him chatting back and forth on Discord, but it was enough to have people kind of lose their mind online, seeing this as the green light that Halo and Gears and Forza will be showing up on the PS5 any moment now. I will say this, though. I do believe that Microsoft will be moving more games over to other systems, and that does include Sony's console. So whether it's the PS5 or the PS6, who knows, the PS7 even, we don't really know where gaming is going to be in 10 years, but it wouldn't shock me if, like, in 4 or 5 years, we're looking back on things, and yet Halo is on the PlayStation, and Forza's flying around, and we have Gears, maybe even multi-platform on Nintendo system, and that's kind of where I think Microsoft is trending towards right now, but they would continue to make hardware similar to how they make like Surface laptops and that sort of thing. The Xbox, I think, will still exist, but it will, I believe, keep becoming more and more like just a regular PC in a box, more so than it is now. I mean, we deal with really PC components and customized chips, sure, but ones that fall more in line with what you would have, say, from AMD in a video card that you would buy. But I think Microsoft realizes, wow, we can make a lot of money as a publisher for games across all platforms and still keep our hardware there for people who want it. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see more announcements here in the near future, but no, these were just kind of opinions from Jez Corden, who, yes, is well-informed, but nothing for him to be throwing out there and reporting definitively on Windows Central yet. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Take-Two shutting down multiple different studios, as reported by Bloomberg, which we can see this is posted up over on gamesindustry.biz, where they say Bloomberg reported has seen internal documentation that reveals UK developer Roll7, known for the Ollie Ollie series, which Ollie Ollie World is an awesome skateboarding adventure style game, and Rollerdrome, which I thought was a lot of fun. It was sort of like Tony Hawk mixed with guns kind of and rollerblading. These are the games that are kind of hard to explain, and it's just like, go play them and you'll see you'll see what I mean. But it is planned for closure, with the publisher working on severance agreements for affected staff. The documents also detail plans to close Intercept Games, the Seattle-based studio behind Kerbal Space Program 2. Apparently development for that game has been worked out, so all of that, continues along for support there. But I mean, that's wow. Okay, so Intercept Games and then Roll 7. The thing that's a shame, obviously, is Roll 7. They just acquired them at the end of 2021. They haven't even owned them for 3 years, and they're shutting them down. Now, I assume the founders of Roll 7 wanted to cash out because they sold to Take-Two, but wow, that's one of the concerns that we have around consolidation and bigger studios and publishers buying smaller ones is it's not guaranteed they're going to be around. I mean, really, again, less than 3 years and boom, Roll 7 is just gone. Bloomberg reported other private division staff have been affected by the layoffs, with a source telling GamesIndustry.biz that the vast majority of the label's team in Seattle, New York, Las Vegas, and Munich have been let go. So this is still very strange to see Take-Two in this position, because we know they make stupid amounts of money from GTA 5 still. Red Dead Redemption 2 is still selling very well for them. Of course, they also have the 2K label with the different sports games, and we know that GTA 6 is coming. I'm sure the development is very expensive for that title, but they're going to make an incredible amount of money when it launches next year. So it does seem kind of strange they wouldn't have these smaller studios work to build, like Roll 7, build something very unique and different just to see what they can come up with. But I guess in their mind, they wanted to cut costs, and I'm sure there's some bonuses coming for the executives at the top. We'll, I'm sure, hear more about that one at some point. But yeah, definitely a shame, especially for Roll 7. After what I saw with Rollerdrome and Ollie Ollie World, it seemed like there was a lot of potential there for him. And before we go to the comments of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, will a mainline Halo game show up on a PlayStation console in the next 5 years? All right, there we go. 70% say no. 30% though say yes. You know what? I feel like if I ran this poll and said, will a Mario game show up on the PlayStation 5 in the next 20 years? Okay, so I'm going to jump from 5 to 20 years. I feel like that would have been 95 to 100% just say no. So that's actually a bigger difference than you'd expect here. 30% saying yes, this platform holder will eventually move what I think is their premier intellectual property. I know it's not in a great spot right now, but if you look at Master Chief, you think of Halo. And I feel like that's the one character they have that is brand specific to them. Gears, sure, they have Marcus Phoenix and stuff, but even that character has changed to different characters in the series now. And so I mean, Forza's a car. I don't know, is Master Chief the big mascot for Xbox? Because to me it is, and seeing Master Chief on a PlayStation, that'd be really weird. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Rez, who says, I feel like the large majority of gamers are just not that bothered by ray tracing. Sure, it looks nice, but I reckon so few would choose reflecty water over smoother gameplay. I think the issue we have with ray tracing is it's just not different enough or impactful enough compared to just some of the basic shaders and reflections we've been dealing with for a long time now, to where people notice it themselves. You have to generally tell a gamer that ray tracing is in front of them, or at least being used in that game, for them to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of see it. To me, that means it's probably not worth the trade-off for what we see as a severe impact to performance. Most of us are fine with the basic reflections and stuff that we have now, and just getting 60 frames, 120 frames. I mean, really, it's how much shinier, how much more reflecty do things need to be? Which is why I think there has to still be a lot of creativity around utilizing ray tracing in these games before we have that big aha moment and then people start calling for ray tracing across the board. But who knows, maybe Nintendo throwing their hat in the ring with their next-gen system, they can come up with something. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's Pyoro's tweet of the Nintendo World Championships 1990 cartridge? Do you think it's Switch 2 related, or is this going to lead to more disappointment? And then also, what about Microsoft going full-on third-party? Is it possible that we could actually see Halo, Gears, or even Forza on the PlayStation 5, or maybe as a launch title for the PS6? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.